From the AP, Pentagon senior advisor Dan Caldwell ousted during investigation into leaks. This is crazy. Oh, wait, this is an old story. How did we get this one in the mix? I don't know. This is an old story. Let's jump to the next story. I don't know. Someone put that in the mix, and then I read it. I'm basically Ron Burgundy. I'll read whatever's in the prompter. We got this story from Times Now News. J.D. Vance was suspended minutes after joining BlueSky. Here's why. They say Vice President J.D. Vance's BlueSky account was suspended within minutes of him joining the platform. His posts criticized medical treatments for trans youth and claimed pharmaceutical influence over healthcare decisions. His account has now been reinstated. So this is actually pretty fascinating. J.D. Vance tweeted this out. Let me see if I can pull up his tweets on the matter. His X post on the BlueSky. He wrote, "Hello, BlueSky. I've been told this app has become the place to go for common sense political discussion and analysis, so I'm thrilled to be here to engage with all of you." He then posted a series of posts. To that end, I found Justice Thomas's concurrence on the medical care for transgender youth quite illuminating. He argues that many of our so-called experts have used bad arguments and substandard science to push experimental therapies on our youth. I might add that many of those scientists are receiving substantial resources from Big Pharma to push these medicines on kids. What do you think? And
banned.
They blocked him.
Well,
after the story went viral, they brought him back. But what's funny is that BlueSky was supposed to be. I remember talking to Jack Dorsey personally about this. He was like, "Look, we're going to make this BlueSky crypto blockchain thing. That way, everybody will be able to speak freely." And now it is the most violent and censorious platform that exists. It is a literal hive of scum and villainy.
It's Twitter 2018, like trapped in a time loop.
Yeah,
on a separate app.
Empowered to police each other and themselves.
And it was that way almost instantly. From the moment it went live, it was that way. Especially once the election happened, it got way worse.
Yeah, people were getting suspended immediately for saying, not particularly racy stuff at all.
Well, and then a lot of the people, like a lot of celebrities, will end up they'll make a big show of leaving X and going over to BlueSky, and then they come back to X, because you can't actually have a discussion on BlueSky with anyone.
One of my favorite things about that is when they have the their name on X is blah 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 at BSky blah blah blah, and it's like they're making sure that I also have a BlueSky account. Not that anyone on X is going to go to BlueSky to find them. The people on BlueSky that are interested in what they have to say are probably already following them. But yeah, I love the fact that they're just like, I'm on BlueSky and you should follow me there, and everyone on X is like, no, that place is horrible.
It's a great place to go to mine content when people are angry at stuff. If you do work like we do, it's a fantastic platform.
It is the literal salt mines where you go to mine salt. You know?
Reminded me of Tumblr, almost exactly like Tumblr.
Yes, absolutely.
That's where it all went wrong. Tumblr.
Just like every conservative attempt at making some alternative Twitter, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
That's why Elon just bought it.
Yeah. Not everybody has that option, right? Like,
yeah. But I think what we end up seeing from platforms like BlueSky is that's a cult.
Remember, BlueSky ran Jack off because Jack Dorsey. That didn't mean to come out.
Because he had his mini libertarian phase for a while.
Yeah, and he was thinking that he was like, oh, BlueSky is going to be like this, blah blah blah, and they literally ran him off. They're like, get out of here, Jack Dorsey, you're a Nazi.
Proves that he doesn't understand the people that he courted all that well.
I mean, maybe he just thinks that he's got magical powers or something. This time it'll work.
He does kind of have that look about him.
Just throw apps at it. Yeah. Throw apps at it until one finally sticks it without turning into a police.
Is this held in the same regard of that you can't ban a public official on X? Wasn't that a thing for a while? You can't ban the profile of a public official because the public has the right to engage with them. You can still ban them?
Yep.
I thought that they banned Trump because he was no longer in office.
No, it was a big issue when Laura Loomer was running for office and they banned her on all these platforms. And it's like, you're giving free airtime to her political rival while blocking. That's crazy that these companies are doing that. Yeah. Yep. BlueSky invites it, I guess.
I mean, a lot of people have kind of fallen by the wayside on that because it seems like the tech bros have kind of tried to cozy up to the right since Trump came back to office, right? But it doesn't mean that, next election cycle comes around and they lose, that they won't go right back to the way they were before.
Yeah, I suppose the bigger question is, how do you break people out of the cult?
As like you yourself, like how do you as a person do it to somebody else? I've never
Rhetorical you and you personally, Brett Dasovic.
It's always to me been the same thing. You have to do it yourself. Like you cannot be led to that information by yourself, because when somebody leads you to that information, your hackles are up and somebody's already, especially if you're trying to tell them that something they've believed for any length of time is wrong, they're automatically going to be combative with you. The best thing that a person can do is go seek new information on their own. But most people don't go and do that. I would argue that most people that shift politically probably get there because maybe somebody showed them one thing one time, they didn't think much of it, but they went on that journey themselves and they had to get to that information themselves. They couldn't be led there by another person. It feels like a fool's errand to try.
I think this characteristic is largely what defines what we would call the left or liberals, in that they're not looking for stats. They're not trying to figure out what's actually going on. They tend just to agree with whatever the other part of the crowd agrees with. And so you end up with violent echo chambers that ban the vice president when he cordially and politely brought up a major Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the same thing comes true when you go look at the protests and stuff like that. Call and response. You're not allowed to actually go and have a discussion with them because they understand that most of the time their arguments fall flat when you try to engage with someone honestly and you have a different viewpoint.
Yo, it is wild. The protests I've been to, you walk up, like I'm at one of these protests and these people have no idea. This is years ago. Let's go back 10 years. You walk up to some guy and you'll just say, hey, man, how's it going? And he'll be like, sup? And he'll be like, can I ask some questions? Someone will immediately run up to you and go, no, stop talking. And I was in San Bernardino, and there were Trump supporters on one side and Antifa and far left on the other. And I walked over to the far left side, and people were standing around, and I was like, hey, how's it going? You guys want to tell me what the protest is about? Immediately, a woman ran up and started chanting, Mike, check, Mike, check.
Yeah, exactly.
And they all start, they want to make sure you cannot get information to them.
Yeah.
That mic check stuff is insane.
Yeah.
How they just sit there and just start repeating the things that each other said. It's craziness.
So what is your answer to your question?
How do you break people from the cult?
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a classically liberal or traditionally liberal way to do it. Perhaps I don't know. I don't know if there's a way.
Isn't that your mission here?
I mean, largely the mission is just to kind of break down what's going on in the world and try and discuss it with the most accuracy possible, and then our opinions on the matter.
The internet as it is right now, it's like everything is so algorithmically programmed that the people that want this information are going to find it, and the people that want a different set of information, albeit maybe less accurate, are going to go find it wherever they go because their computer, their phone is telling them this is what you like looking at, so it's going to feed you more of the same thing.
There's no good answer. I mean, I can say, based on the facts of the case, it is clear. Whatever it is that is our side, the moderate to like right-leaning side, has a bias in reality. Reality has a right-wing bias, as I would describe it, and the left does not. The problem is both sides are saying the exact same thing. The left says people on the right are lying and making things up, and it's all fake news and it's a cult. And then we are saying quite similarly about them. The fact is we are correct, however. And the easiest way to break that down is the right is a disparate hodgepodge group of random ideologies.
Well, look at what's going on right now with Iran and Israel. There's people on all sides of the right arguing about what's going on and whether it's the right thing to do. And
the cultists are trying to discredit the anti-war side, which is the weirdest thing. So two great examples. Jon Stewart mocked Steve Bannon, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jack Posobiec, and Charlie Kirk, who are all anti-intervention with the war in Iran. Why? Jon Stewart says, well, credit where credit is due. You know, we shouldn't engage in these protracted quagmires in the Middle East. But hold on there, and then mocked and belittled them.
Right.
That serves only to reinforce the psychological drive of the cult. These people are bad. Don't listen to them. Then Jon Stewart comes out and goes, you know, I don't like war, but if you actually were listening to, say, Jack Posobiec, he's going to, or Steve Bannon is a better example, he's going to be like, no war, no, never. Jon Stewart will say, no war, no war. Wait a minute, what's that? They attacked who? Well, now we have no choice. Sam Cedars, another example. He made a video attacking me, calling my anti-intervention stance a grift. For what purpose? There are people who are Trump supporters who were tweeting up no new wars under Trump, vote for Trump. And now that Trump is talking about a strike in Iran, they're saying, I trust my president. And it's like, go after the hypocrites.
Yeah.
But the point is discredit. So they're not, I think the issue largely is that these liberals, they're very pro-war. And like we saw in the 2000s, the goal of the media narrative will be to convince people why war is necessary, if that's going to be the plan of the United States. So attack anybody who is staunchly opposed to it, and then play the moderate voice that reluctantly says, I guess we have to go to war.
What do you think where's the source of the power of what you're calling the cultists? So it seems to me that it's more than just control of the internet. There's a whole ecosystem and an economic system built around it. Starting with the universities. I have my own view. I mean, I would say that what we're up against is progressivism. It's an ideology.
Yeah.
And even a theology.
Yeah.
But not everyone's going to see the theology, so let's just call it an ideology. But it's the entire ideology of all the universities. Big business has gone in for it, not because it's really sincere about it, but because it thinks they figure that they won't, that the right will be with them automatically, and they can buy the left with some wokeness.
Well, yeah, they did that after Occupy Wall Street. They had to shift their business model, what they call rainbow capitalism.
Right. Yeah, they shift their business model, and they thought there would be nothing to pay for that. The conservatives would never hold them account for that. But so, if you want to break the cult, it has to be more than just an informational effort, right? There has to be an economic effort as well. I'm asking.
So where do you believe the power is?
Well, so look at it this way. If you were to take all of the political factions, put them in a big circle, you get a yin-yang. There's light and there's dark, and within lightness there is darkness. When darkness there is light. The power base of the liberal structures, it's an amorphous group of individuals, and it's a murmuration. By moving together, they become a powerful force, similarly to what the right is, but the right is a bit more disparate. On the right, you have nodes of different ideologies that have moved together because of the insanity of the left. They've actually cost themselves a good amount of their political power. Right now, what we're seeing is Democrats staging arrests, like intentionally trying to get arrested because they have no policies to campaign on, so they just attack cops.
Yeah.
We've seen this 3 times now. 3 times now. Democrats have attacked cops, getting arrested. And I think what happened was the first ICE arrests we saw with McIver and Baraka, this was an accident. They got into a fight with cops, got arrested, saw something and said, hey.
That worked?
Yeah.
Then Padilla says, I'm going to play. He charges in, screaming, gets thrown to the ground. Then you get, Lander?
Yeah.
In New York. He's like, let's go. And Trump won't charge them. I think that's a large component of the problem. The Trump DOJ did go after McIver, but as my understanding right now, I could be wrong, they're not charging Padilla and they're not charging Lander. They dropped the charges.
Of course not.
They need to go after him full, just throw the book at him. So one of the issues I would say right now is there are a lot of personalities on social media that produce fake news intentionally. This has been the case for some time. There was a period during the first Trump cycle where there were websites that were literally writing fake news. These were not Trump supporters, but they were trying to manipulate Trump supporters to get clicks, largely boomers. And they would write, one story that went really viral, I remember, was ambulance blocked by far left protesters on highway, woman dies. And it was 2 guys that were in, I think, like Tempe, that would just make up fake stories, put them on their website, post them to Facebook, and then get millions of views because it was confirmation bias. And Facebook eventually shut this down and said, you can't do this. The issue is YouTube never did. YouTube has shut down some stuff, but largely what we've seen from the left is they've just adapted to how they do the fake news. So now you have people on YouTube that will produce to hundreds of thousands of views fake news by pulling Trump out of context. Daily Show is a great example. They actually, in their criticism of Bannon, connected 2 different sentences before they were completed and cut them together to make a fake statement from Bannon.
That's unreal.
So that they could, it was nuts because Bannon didn't say the thing they claimed he said. They made a fake quote up. And this is going to be on YouTube, and it's going to get hundreds of thousands of views, and YouTube lets it happen. Well, here's the question. Should YouTube be in the game of taking those things down? That's tough. Because if you say that YouTube should have the power to censor what they think is fake news, they will just start getting rid of people on the right as they were doing before.
Yeah.
Then what's the other response? Should the right just do the same thing the left is doing? Welcome to hell, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't the proper course of action there be for Bannon to sue?
You can't sue for it.
He can't sue for it.
So the issue is they're a comedy show that no one would expect to believe is true. Now, what The Daily Show and other shows like it do is they masquerade as mocking the truth. They say the facts are correct and now we're going to insult them for it. That's what the average person thinks it is. What it actually is we've fabricated a set of events that we can make fun of for your entertainment. But most people don't realize that. My idea is we're working on a project. We're just going to make fake videos of Jon Stewart and other liberals saying really off-putting things because it's comedy. Yeah. And we're going to call it Comedy Sketch News. And we're going to show videos of them saying it, and it's going to be funny. Now, here's the issue. I was talking to my team, and I was like, let's make a video where, Jon Stewart, we'll use AI. We'll make it look as real as we can. And then we'll call it Comedy Sketch News. You can tell it's comedy. And then I will say, I can't believe Jon Stewart would say something so off-putting and offensive and honestly gross. Can you believe it? I don't think anyone could believe it. But there's the video. Obviously, the implication being, it's real. But I literally said I could not believe that it was real. You can't sue me, right? But what happens then? If we put a video like that out, someone will clip out the fake video of Jon Stewart, put it on X, put it on Instagram, and there you go. Jon Stewart just said whatever it was. And it'll be permanent and forever. That's what The Daily Show does to all of us and everybody else. But no one on the right wants to do it to them. Nobody does. And so you wonder why it is the left believes psychotic nonsense. This is the world they live in. Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.